Greetings and welcome, family, to a special edition of Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids. This is going to be a first of a series of teachings of Ascended Masters featuring Lalji Selassie. We have him backstage. I want to bring him on now. Add to stage. So, just so that we have a understanding, overstanding, quantum standing, please, wherever you're listening from, thank you for being born. Thank you for being alive. Thank you for surviving the airport adolescence of youth. As we bring our awareness from our hearts, family, the greatest secrets, the greatest powers, the greatest under-researched subject is the magical place of the heart. The heart is where it begins at conception. The heart is where the most important, some of the most important health is of the heart. And in transition into the afterlife, it's all about the heart. Not about the memories of the mind, not the pineal gland opening, but the secrets. The more I research magnetics and the impact upon the heart is a trans-dimensional, intergalactic, multi-reality right in our chest. It is truly, our hearts is truly the last frontier. It is from our heart that we have the most magical, transformational, personal empowerment, and guarantee of happiness is within our hearts. So before we start the show, I am in me. I am in you, the listening audience. I am in Lalji Selassie. We come together and ask that we be guided with the rope of hope of our ascended masters. Yeshua, Black Madonna, Mother Mary, Sanat Kumara, Buddha, Lady Buddha. Because family, there were Lady Buddhas in antiquity, but the patriarch wanted to suppress the divine femininity. So here on this channel, we are acknowledging Lady Buddha, Lady Krishna, Melchizedek, the latest Christ born in the Congo, Simeon Toko, Ascended Master from Africa, Sheikh Amadou Bamba, Imhotep, Ptahotep, Akhenaten, and White Buffalo Calf Woman, Quetzalcoatl, also known as Thoth Jehuti. We invite, we thank and invite to be on the show. Nat Turner, found out Nat Turner's a distant cousin of mine, back from the way back in the day. Harriet Tubman, Dr. George Washington Carver.
That makes sense.
Makes sense? Yeah. So I'm going to fall back. I'm down here in Atlanta for a meeting of the masters. And Lalji, I want you to go ahead and make the magic happen, and I'll join you. I'll join back with you momentarily. So, family, welcome to a unique experience. If you have any questions, put it in the chat and enjoy the show.
It'd be great to have questions and answers. Anyway, beloved mighty and present, great hosts of sin and ascended masters, great angelic hosts, great cosmic beings who govern the system of worlds, and the seven mighty Elohim, grant us your grace to have a divine show and to bless everyone in our conversation. Almighty I am, Almighty I am, Almighty I am. I started to write a list of some of the things I was going to say today, and try to get all scholarly and everything. And I just realized it never really works for me. So I'm gonna speak from the heart and tell you about the School of Higher Consciousness. The School of Higher Consciousness is something that will be online soon. I'm setting it up with Tony Robbins, of course, a master teacher. And I was kind of thinking, what should I talk about? What should I speak to my family about? And one of my brothers said to me, sell your knowledge, man. I want to buy knowledge from you because I made so much money with you in business. Another brother says to me, oh, no, no, sell your spiritual knowledge because, I know you got an abundance of that and everybody would want it. I'd buy it from you too, right? And everybody said something different. And I thought to myself, you know, and in fact, I had a conversation today with one of my wonderful friends uh, called me and said, look, we're having a hard time homeschooling our kids. We don't know what to do. We're real busy. They're both of them are business people and they're living up there in New York. And I go, yeah, that's the best place to homeschool a child. And so we had a long conversation. And so I'd like to have a conversation today about the School of High Consciousness, but more, where are we going in life here now? We're looking at now you go on YouTube and you can't say common words. You have to say things like unalive and other kind of things that, so how did they get the power to tell us what we could say? We can't say common words that are not offensive. You can curse, but you can't say that. You go into schools and your children are being miseducated. They don't even teach them how to write. So I wanted to drop some information on you about the school that's going to be coming your way and what it has to offer and how we need to start thinking about our life, who we are, what are we doing. I thought, well, what is your age? What is your age bracket? Well, who is your avatar for this school? And as I looked at it, I thought, dang, we probably hitting on all cylinders over here. You know, one of the worst things I've done was, I've become a professional volunteer rather than a businessman. Because so many things that I know, I just don't want to charge people for. But that doesn't serve them because people who get things for free usually turn on you. So let's just start talking. And let's start about one of my premier courses. It's called Divine Conception. And I developed this course um, because if you're having sex, you'll be able to use this information. If you're young, you'll use the aspect of it that teach you how to have sex instead of having sex like an animal, which most people are doing, which is why these animalistic characteristics in humanity just are abundant, uh, especially for you guys, because most of you guys learn from a girl who don't know how to have sex herself, right? Then there's those other aspects that people want to have family, right? You're having family, you're conceiving children happenstantially, like by accident, and even those who want to have a child, they're going out there having children. Put some mango juice in that for me? It's nice. Thank you, man. And they may go out and they want to have a child, right? If they can, and they're truly, really trying to have a child, so they'll go out, have some wine, liquor, champagne, eat some beef, really scrumptious meat, or some other dead animal, right? And then I come home after 12 o'clock, lay down to have sex and, do their animal thing. And maybe they'll conceive a child, maybe not. But this is considered a good thing when nothing could be further from the truth. I developed this course as I was in India and, I was in my bed in a dorm and like 4 or 5 beds uh, over from me, there was this guy, he had supernatural powers. And I knew that because I saw nobody's going around bragging about, what kind of powers or cities, which is supernatural powers they have. And I saw him out, a girl got bit by a snake, and he said a mantra and he just pulled it out. Now, this is in the dorm. This is just regular guys. This guy had supernatural powers. And I'm thinking to myself, how did he do that? I mean, how did he get these powers? Right? And I really went after it. I went off while I was in India in my guru's ashram, who showed us so much love, gave us so much knowledge and secret knowledge. I was just, I was banging it. I wasn't playing at all. If I had 5 minutes, I filled that 5 minutes with repetition of mantra. I didn't play. All right, and like I didn't let that go. I thought to myself, him, my guru, he's like that. And there were so many gurus that came to our ashram. They changed the name of the ashram. They took away the name of ashram and called it a siddha peeth, where many god men and women would come. So they call it a siddha peeth, right? And I thought, man, look at these masters. How did they get to be masters? Was it just hard work, or did something happen before they were born? Was it the mother and father? What was it? Right? And um, and then I found this information, and I said to myself, man, imagine if we in Native America, or what we're calling Black America, here in America. They lied to us about that too. Most of us did not come from Africa, but that's another story. I said, imagine if we was to get that knowledge and start conceiving children like that, preparing those children before we, you know, while we were thinking of them, preparing ourselves to conceive those children in a holy ritual of love with our wife and husband, uh, with mantras while we make love to our wife, with mantras, not cursing, not doing some other thing that he or she may think heighten the experience, right? High powered mantras, violet flame mantras, mantras that you get after you're initiated by a god man or a siddha being, right? And then as you take your wife, because we can't go there. As you take your wife to the ninth orgasmic level, we don't reach the ninth orgasmic level. But she can if we're having sex like a man and a woman, not a human, but a man and a woman, right? A mutual orgasmic experience on the orgasmic level. What kind of child you think you're gonna have? Imagine preparing for a child. Man, this is just one of the subjects going to be taught in the School of Higher Consciousness. Imagine learning this. Imagine what your diet got to be like. Imagine what your physical prowess must be like. Imagine who you got to be to bring in a Christ-like being. Imagine even wanting that. Right? What would it do if 1,000 of us had children like that, or 10,000, or 100,000? Well, we got 200 million people here in America. Imagine if a million did that. What will we look like in the eyes of the world? And I'm telling you now, the eyes of the world do not see us like the eyes that are from Washington, D.C., or the rest of the Congress, or our own white brothers and sisters, or Asian brothers and sisters, or Latino brothers and sisters. They see us one way here. When we leave this country and we go around the world, they see us much different. All right? But imagine if we were something to see. Imagine if every one of us had total recall of mind. We don't forget anything. Imagine that we have a photographic memory. Can that be done through divine conception? Well, this is one course, right? I had my friends call me today, and as I was saying, they were having a little difficulty homeschooling their children. I homeschool my children. Matter of fact, one of them said, "Look, one of the courses you could teach in the School of High Consciousness is homeschooling your children." You know? And I told them, I said, now they got a brilliant little boy, he's 3 years old, and they're a wonderful couple. They both make money. They live in a wonderful building. In fact, they live in a building that is rated 10th on the planet Earth. I used to live in this building, and it's a wonderful place, right? And they were like, we're getting close to the time where we have to start educating them and so forth and so on. What did you do? We may have to put them in school. And I was telling them that's like the worst thing you could do for your kid. This is another course in divine conception, homeschooling. And we talked about, I'm sorry, this is another course in School of Higher Consciousness. We talked about divine conception. Now this is a homeschool. Now I was doing Tony Robbins' seminar just last week, and he was saying, look, the game has changed. The game has changed. People are buying expertise now. People are buying your expert knowledge of things you know. They will pay you to teach them instead of going to school for college for 4 or 5 years, learning a lot of useless information. And then they still got to come out and find someone like you to mentor them. They want to skip that process and that time and go to an expert right away and just learn it, spend 3, 4 years with them, and they're an expert in that. And they're making money all the while they're doing it and making gargantuan sums of money after that. So this is like the game has changed, right? A lot of people want to work at home, online, their own business. They don't want to work for anybody else. No, very few people want that. They don't want to be traveling, leaving their family if they got little kids and so forth and so on. Right? They don't want that. So let's talk about homeschooling. Like we just talked a little bit about divine conception. Because what comes after divine conception? A child. But is an ordinary child coming? No. A child conceived in mantras, a child that you prepared for, a child that you literally were teaching in the womb. This is just some of the stuff that you learn in this course called Divine Conception in the School of Higher Consciousness. But let's skip ahead because I'm only going to touch on a few things because I'm going to invite you, those who are listening, to a course I'm giving, and we'll talk about this. Let's look at this child. So you got your child, this wonderful child you love, a mother and a father. A mother and a father there. I'm not talking about these happenstance relationships that you conceive your child out of lust. Girl had a big butt and you wanted to get with her. She decided she's gonna have a baby, and you it, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a child you love that you have now, and you want to educate, right? You know what the schools will do to your child as you send them. Now I send my child, my two sons to uh, $50,000 schools initially before I took them out and homeschooled. Why? I was working, I had to get money together, and I had to do it. All right. But as soon as I got set, I pulled them out, right, and start homeschooling. The first thing we did, in fact, was we went to discover California and the history of California. But let me not digress. So New York, for those who are in New York, wonderful place to homeschool kids, right? But think about schooling, period. What would you like your child to learn? If you were a kid and you could go back, what would you go and learn? What would you want to have learned? I had this very thought before I started developing the homeschool program. And I thought this. I said, man, how you have Walt Disney and you got Tinkerbell flying all around in front of that castle, singing, uh, "This is the wonderful world of color, color, color." I said, I'd like to learn in a school that looks like that castle, and I'd like to learn fun things. I was an adventurous, swashbuckling type of little boy. I want to learn fencing. I want to learn how to shoot bow and arrow. I want to learn martial arts. I want to learn how to be a great swimmer. I want to learn how to scuba dive. I want to learn basketball. I always read, always read. At 8 years old, I was reading The Third Eye, right? And I loved school, but I found it to be not fun. I'll put it like that. I want you all to consider this. Imagine taking a little boy or a girl, for that matter, and telling them to sit in your seat and don't talk for hours. A little boy, little girl in a seat for hours and look straight ahead and pay attention to everything that teacher says. And that teacher really doesn't know much, y'all. And what she does know is basically all lies that she's going to teach your child, that she was taught or he was taught and didn't know better. Let's think about the teachers in those schools. If you're a Black American who think they come from Africa or their parents come from Africa, how did your teacher look? Did she live in your neighborhood? Did she look like you? Could you really relate to her? You think she doesn't have the same proclivities socially as the rest of America? Is her husband a cop? Has her husband murdered any Black people? Maybe your uncle or something like that, and you don't even know. Think about these things. And yet, These people have set themselves up as our open enemies. And you're taking your child, your baby boy or your baby girl into the citadels of your open enemy to develop their mind. Consider that. Just consider it. What? To develop their mind. You don't see nothing wrong with that? I mean, because what I'm talking about is nationwide. Now let's think, well, you know what we'll do? We'll put our sons in these high class schools. You know, you pay 50,000 a year like I did, right? Did they love my son? Rudolph Steiner, 79th Street in Manhattan, between uh, Central Park East and Madison Avenue. Hoity-toity neighborhood, right? In fact, it was the Montessori school, and it was connected to the mayor's house at that time, Bloomberg, right? This billionaire mayor at the time, going back some years, right? And 20 years ago, so like something like that. And they didn't love my son. They wanted me to put my son in a retarded school for so slow learners, right? And give him drugs, right? I said, I'm not gonna give my son drugs. I sooner give my son marijuana than give him these drugs they was getting. And I forgot what the name of them, something, all this, that, or the other. You know, put him on drugs. So what? He doesn't talk while you teach, or he's asleep while you teach, or he's doped up while you teach. What does the drug do? Because if it really you could learn, I love learning. You know, I'll take it myself to be a better learner, right? And so I end up, and remember this, that's what they did to Einstein. That's what was done to Einstein, right?
Lalji,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
I got to do this disclaimer so that I don't get booted. So
Okay,
hold on. This is a medical disclaimer. The information provided on this channel is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health providers in any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking it because of something you heard on this channel. If you're experiencing a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. This channel does not endorse or recommend any specific tests, physicians, products, procedures, opinions, or other information that might be mentioned. Reliance on any information provided by this channel is solely at your own risk and is for educational purposes only.
wonderful.
All right, go ahead and continue.
All right. So I was reading that too, but we almost know by heart the reality that we're in these days. Nonetheless, and this is the reality that we are in these days, right? If you don't say that, he can lose his program, no matter what we know about all the institutions that we're subjected to now, right? All right. So let's think about this as we move along, this homeschooling thing. And I'm just gonna hit it a little bit because there's a lot more that I want to speak about. So as I started the homeschooling process, I said, man, what would I want to learn? You know, what's out here for my children to learn? And I thought, I know skill learning is what I really want them because the reading, writing, and arithmetic is all they're going to use. They're not going to use calculus or trigonometry like this, unless they become a physicist and or a mathematician, which means basically a teacher. So what should I have them learn? Well, language was at the top of my list. Languages. And I'm gonna tell you why. I thought I was highly educated, and I was coming back from India. We were about to do a world tour with my spiritual master, and I met these guys. We were in Switzerland. It was a beautiful, warm spring day, like the end of April, like or May, and yeah, it was in May. And I met this group of guys, like a half a dozen guys, and they were from everywhere. You know, school was out, so it was like that. They were, you know, on spring break and everything. And they had met these girls, and we started talking, and they were like, "Yeah, man, so come on, hang out with us, right?" And I'm like, "Cool." And they go, look, the only thing is we don't all speak English. What other language do you speak? And I said, well, I know a little Spanish. They said, cool, we all know Spanish. Let's go. Let's go to the girls, right? And I'm like, I can't really go try to front on them, so I don't really know Spanish that well. And I mean, we're talking about a half a dozen guys from all over the world. They're coming to the school. None of them were one race or ethnicity. And they go, you only speak English? And I said, yeah. They said, where are you from? I said, the US. They said, oh. So it was like they knew how we were being dumbed down. It was like an international known. They think they're the most educated and they're the least educated. They only know one language, right? Then I start seeing what is real education, really? What is real education? You know, does it include etiquette and manners? Do we learn that? And if we don't learn it in your home, you'll be picking up your fork like this, and eating, right? Or a knife or spoon. And I thought, dang, if you don't learn etiquette, right? Do you know how to behave? Do you know? You know that? Yeah. And I was like, wow, I thought I knew something. And then most of the history that we learned here in America is lies, especially African history, or the people with Native American and African history. It's all lies. Like, think about this. They had us convinced that we lived in teepees. And you see how brutal the winters are. So you're living in a teepee in these brutal winters. You didn't live in houses and so forth and so on. Y'all didn't have that because you're primitive. They had us believing that somebody could come and give you, what is it, $24 of trinkets, and you can buy a whole island. They had us believing that, right? This story that they had us believe. They didn't call the Europeans invaders. They called them settlers. So they're using words to make something seem different than what it is. Settlers come and they settle down. Invaders, murderers, conquerors come in, rape, pillage, and murder. We all know this. But we brought that story. Let's not divest. So there's many things you could be teaching your child without sending them to school, especially in cities where they have museums, where they have educational programs with teachers that are the highest in their fields around the world that will be teaching your children. And then you get certificates from every one of these places. I had my children in 32 different places, 32 different institutions, and which included 3 colleges. And whenever I took them to the colleges to learn something, now they couldn't be matriculated, right? They couldn't get credit, but they learned the information, right? And whenever I said to them, look, I wanted to know if, my son, my daughter, they can go to your college just to sit in the classes and learn, their eyes would go up like this. Yes. I mean, they were saying yes before they could blink an eye, basically because their eyes did like this. Right? And they were like, yes. And after a while of doing this in a few colleges, and I mean, Columbia University, City College, John Jay University, right? Uh, Fordham universities. These are high-powered colleges. I said, why you guys so eager? My daughter's here like 9, and the oldest one is 12. Why so easy did you let them come in? And they said, because we know how homeschoolers do. They only get A's. These young kids in here that are teenagers and entering their 20s, they jackass around. They'll play around and do this, but your children, they're only going to get A's. And that's what we know because that's what they all do. So we want them in here to uplift the class. And once they see these kids are learning it, they know that it's not so difficult that you can't learn it. You're just jiving around. That's why they wanted the kids in those classes. So you get your children and you can find out places with the museums, so many institutions that you can have your child in. You got Peter Urban in downtown Manhattan that teaches fencing. You have Uncle Jamal in Columbia University, who has the impact, where they're teaching them what are they teaching them? Leadership through the arts and sciences. And they made movies. They meet everybody in Hollywood. I have my son in this program, my 2 sons in this program. And they said, Dad, we met Mike Tyson today. We met this one, that one. They met everybody in Hollywood because Uncle Jamal knows everybody. right? And so let's just move along, right? What about you? What about your life? How are you living? Are you accomplishing your goals? You know, are you living the life you want to live? Are you the man or woman you want to be? Especially for you guys out there, my brothers. If you can't see that this is like a war against men, then you're blind. You know, there's stuff going on, stuff so deep. I don't even want to mention it in this talk we're having. But you guys are not in the catbird seat. Even if you got money, you're not in the catbird seat. If you get married, that's your greatest chance of losing your wealth. Because you get married, your wife says, "I'm not happy." They get divorced, they take the kids, half your money, and then you're extorted until those kids turn 18 and 21. And if you have a child, the statistics are, if you're black, you got a 90% chance that that child is not yours. This is the statistics from the DNA labs. If you're white, you got an 85% chance that that child is not yours. This is what you're up against. This is what you're dealing with. What kind of man did you want to be, when you left high school? Or even while you were in high school, what kind of man did you want to be? What did you think you were going to be and you were going to attain and you were going to have? Who did you think you would be? Did you think you'd be a world traveler? I know you thought you were going to be a millionaire, right? You would have a beautiful wife. You have wonderful children. You're going to get a mansion sooner or later, right? I'm gonna go to college, and once I finish college and I got a degree, oh, for sure, I'm going to be making all kind of money, and it's going to be wonderful. And then when you got out of college, no matter how, if your average of a 4.3 and 4.0 is like perfect, but you went above that. When you got out of college, did anybody ask you for a degree, or they asked you what you knew? How can you serve us? How can you help us? I mean, you got a degree, all that's cute and everything, but how does that help us? I got a business here. Your degree means nothing to me. What you can do means everything. What kind of experience you got? That's what they ask you. I maintained a 4.3 until I graduated. Nobody to this day has ever asked me for my degree. And I thought so much of it, I left it in the college that I graduated from. I didn't want it. And the reason I didn't want it is because it had no value for me. But let's go back to, what did you want to be when you was coming up, when you got out of college? What did you want to be? Did you want to be a world traveler? Yeah. Did you want to have adventure? If you wanted kids, you know, did you did you get the right woman? I'm talking about the guy. But the girls are not much of a different situation. In these days and times, we heard Gerald Ford say, after that, he was one of the presidents. Uh, After the Kennedy assassination, he was in the Warren Commission, and they gave him, a task. You see to it that this thing is cleaned up and goes away, and we'll make you a presidency. Rather, we'll make you a president. And he was one of the few presidents that were put in office without being elected. Nobody voted for Gerald Ford. But there was something that he said years ago that I really didn't take full awareness of. But I saw the tape of him speaking just lately. And he said, as the future moves on, the women are going to have everything. And the men, you're going to have little to nothing. We are now living in that time. But let's ask the women, as they indoctrinate you in this satanic feminism, in this satanic women liberation that is designed to break up your family, to skew your mind, your very thinking of what you think of men and what you think of yourselves. And I rarely meet a decent woman that is with this program. But like so many guys have said to me, look, finding the type of woman that was back in your day is like finding a needle in a haystack where the haystack is hidden. So I would definitely say, you know, my my niche of people that I'm talking to are mostly men, but is that one woman in 100,000. She's a very exceptional woman. When you ask her what you want in a man, she doesn't talk about what he has. She talks about who he is. What is his character like? Is he a nice man? Is he sweet? Is he kind? Is he thoughtful? That's not what you hear from most American women. Most American women, what does he got? Where does he work? Is he 6 feet? Mostly all superficial things rather than, is this a good man? It's more like, if he's rich, he's good. If he's 6 foot, he'll do. And many other nonsensical things. And so I say to you men, this is what you got to deal with. And when I say this is what you got to deal with, I mean, really, it's not good. It's serious. So what you gonna do? Let me give you an idea, especially if you're a young guy. You should learn the art and science of human sexuality. You'll be rare among men, right? While you're young, you should be developing your skill or your career, and you should stick with it like white sticks on rice. You should stick with it until you master the trade, because you can do that while you're still in your 20s. Don't look to be a millionaire in 1 or 2 years. Look to be that in 10 years and many, many, many other things, because you're still going to be young. Look to develop yourself. What do you want to develop? Character and personality, multiple languages, right? Etiquette, around the world etiquette. You will want to learn an instrument. You will want to learn things that they're not teaching in school, because when you get among people, especially in the international community, they're not talking about uh, basketball and football and soccer. They're not talking about that. So you need to be someone else. It's not that you shouldn't know what they teach in college, but most of that is just not real. And people, you go and try and have a conversation with somebody about math or science, and watch how people start disappearing around you. Even a little bit of history, they might tolerate that one time, but if that's how you speak with people, they're gonna look like at you like there's something wrong with you. I'm talking to you now in regards to the School of High Consciousness and what it has to offer. Courses that develop you, courses that teach you things that will take you through life, a science of how you live your life. How do you live your life? Well, you're a spirit, so you should tend to that first. How do you attend to that? Well, prayers, decrees, chanting, meditation, scriptural study. What other kind of study should you do? You should study the science of wealth like it's nobody business. You should. I remember back in the days in Brooklyn, and like in the Rucker tournaments, guys would say, "Take it to the butter, no bread." That's how you're supposed to be. That's how you're supposed to be taking your life. Don't play around with it. Don't play around with it. If you work, it's not like you got to work like a demon and then you'll finally get it. No, you do got to work. Do what is hard now while you're young, because as you get older, and you're getting older second by second, life is going to be much more difficult for you if you don't do what is easy, what is difficult now. Because as you get older, it's going to be much easier, and everything ain't going to go your way. Success is not like this. Success doesn't go like this, right? Success goes like this, this, like that, may even plateau a little bit. Success is up and down, but if you're on it, if you're taking it to the butter, you're going up. It's not going to be straight up like that. It's going to be like that. Y'all seen the charts. Nothing goes up all the time. Not the stock market, not even gold. Nothing goes up all the time. Look what happened to the crypto. We thought that was going to be the new way. Well, it went up, and then it went all the way down. Will it go back up again? We'll see. Huh? Nothing goes up all the time. Real estate. Everybody just thought real estate was going to be it. Boom. Yeah. 2008, people had homes. They had negative equity. You know, they brought houses for more than they were worth, and they couldn't sell it for what it was worth. Right? So you want to get specialized knowledge. You want to start thinking now while you're a teenager, while you're in your 20s. Well, who do I want to be? And how can I be that? What is available to me? And I want anybody that got any negative thinking about what they can and cannot do. I want you to put your eyes on this Mexican guy coming from Mexico, this Indian guy that got 10 cents in his pocket, or Pakistan, or from Pakistan, or anywhere, a Russian guy, right? They have no money. They come into the land of so-called opportunity, and they run in circles around Native, Black, and white Americans. They here 5 years, they got their own business. And you know what? You work for them. There's something sad about that. There's something about that that makes little to no sense whatsoever. And Black people, you know, we can cry and do this and that and all that kind of stuff about how they're holding us back, how they're murdering us, and all other things they're doing to us. And it is all true. Okay? But what you gonna do about it? Okay? Now bust this. I want y'all to hear this. When Joe Kennedy was a young boy here in America, he had to deal with that too. He was Irish, right? When the Italians came here, they wanted to classify them as Latinos or Blacks. So they had to deal with that too. And we all know what the Jews had to go through around the world, right? We know. And the history is there, you know, and this is almost current history. We know it. But every one of them, not only the guys from India and Pakistan and Russia and everywhere around the world, but the Jews and, you know, but what did Joe Kennedy do? He became a gangster, but he wasn't a stupid gangster. He was the, believe this, y'all, he was the head gangster in the United States. If you had a mafia gang, whether it was Italian, Irish, you had to pay homage to. Homage meaning money to Joe Kennedy if you wanted to exist in business. What did he do with his sons? He made sure they went to the top not universities. They went to Harvard. What did he tell them to do? Get into the fraternities, because that's where the power is at. Get into the fraternities. What time of fraternities? Like the Skull and Bones and other ones. Skull and Bones were in Yale, but there's others in Harvard, right? Yeah. Many law firms only pick their students from Harvard. And many government positions, same thing. So Joe was like, look, Joe is the real guy, the real godfather. Joe Kennedy was a real godfather. And his plan was to get his sons into politics and to become presidents. That was his plan. You think he was brought up in a big time family and all like that? No. He even produced movies. We're talking about a slick gangster. Truth be told, what are the kings but gangsters that have armies? And they go and they take over other countries and so forth and so on. But let's just think, y'all. Many of us know that life. Many of us have taken over whole neighborhoods or whole sections of the country, and we elevate our children, right? This is what I'm saying. You do not want to see this guy get off the boat coming from India or the plane coming from India, Pakistan, Mexico, Honduras, anywhere, and get ahead of you. You know the terrain. You know what's here and not here. They got to deal with the same cop brutality and all that kind of stuff. They got to deal with that. They got to still deal with the racism and all like that. They got to deal with what we had to deal with. Why are they moving ahead of us? I was doing construction uh, after I came from India. My spiritual master passed away. I was doing construction, and you know, I ran into this Russian guy. He says this to me. He says, "I've been um, here for 5 years. I got my own company now. I'm going to him to get a job in Harlem." Okay. And I looked at him, I said, damn. And I gave him this jackass, excuse. Yeah, man, just look at that. That's how bad it is for us in America. You could come here and get ahead like that. But we, it ain't like that for us. And he said to me, I heard this. I heard that, they're doing that kind of stuff here to you guys and everything. It was crap. It was bull crap. And Hank? And can I be seen? I see myself here on the side, Hank. Are we still in there? Yeah, okay. And but what's the real deal? The real deal is, your life is following your mind and your words. There's nothing you can't do. We could talk a whole lot about Barack Obama, but a black guy named Barack Obama, becoming president of the United States of America is a feat. And we could say a whole lot about him, this, that, and the other, but let's just say he accomplished what he was going for, right? Now, how could that happen? I'm here in Georgia right now, and there's this neighborhood called it's the biggest neighborhood here. It's the most elite, richest neighborhood here in the city called Buckhead. But the biggest mansion is owned by the governor, but there's a bigger one owned by a black guy who he had some software business, bigger than the governor's mansion. All right. So what did he think? What did he say? He said, I'm going to go for it. I'm taking it to the butter, no bread. I'm taking it to the butter. And we heard this back in the days. I'm talking about in the 60s and 70s, back in the days, right? Where the guys were playing basketball. And they passed the ball to take it to the butter. What they meant about taking to the butter was, you need now to do this thing, not no pass and shoot. You need to make what you're about to do with your move so pretty, it defies physics. Last time I was in the Rucker basketball courts uptown in Harlem, over in the Polo Grounds, one of the brothers, they had to move, they had it down pat. They passed it to this brother on the side, and he flies through the air and then dunks it on the side. Here's the court, he's coming from the side, he's flying, all right? I had to go up to that brother. My brother, look, my brother, there are laws to the universe. There's laws to the physics. You can't fly, and then dunk. That's how you got to live your life. Whatever they say can't be done, you got to do it. Whatever they say is hard, you got to make easy, especially if you're black here in America. Whatever it is that you want, you can have. You just got to take it to the butter. No bread. And let me tell you what I mean about take it to the butter. Fly through the air, okay? And dunk. Whatever you want. There's a science to success. Take it to the butter. No bread. Matter of fact, take it to the ghee. And let me tell you what the ghee is. The ghee is clarified butter. Okay? The ghee is clarified butter. And they use ghee in the East and other places in the world to worship the gods, and the gods will know you. You got to live your life on such a level, man and woman, especially us black people here in the world, so that the very gods know you, and they will know you, and they may even come to you. And I know this as a direct experience. You may have that psychic experience, and you're not under the influence of booth or ayahuasca or anything, just because you know the science and you use it every day, and they will come to you. They will know you, and they will know you by name. And if they don't know you, the ascended masters will know you, who are also God, men and women. All right? What level do you want to play on here? What level do you want to play on here? How do you want to live your life? I would tell you right now, I don't think there's been a worse time in my life so far. But then, a guy said to me one time, I was like, this is like the worst time in my life for me. And he says, I'm sorry. I said, I didn't say it was bad. This is the worst for me, I got a lot of money. But what does that mean? If your credit gets messed up because you got a business that failed, you can't even rent an apartment here. In America, you can't even rent an apartment. You got $1 million, you can't. If your credit's bad, can't do that. So how do you play the game? How do you even get around that? What is there that you could know? What about the UCC laws? Is there something in there that could protect you if that happens? Universal Commercial Codes? Is there something that's taught in the School of Higher Consciousness? But let's get back to us. You, me, black man, black woman, 1 in 100,000, right? That woman who was 1 in 100,000, which is who you want. And if you can't get her, you're going to have to go out of the country to get that woman that you want to build a family with. Because this is what's powerful. How do you move intelligently in this life on the 4 legs of life? Your spiritual life, your physical life, your financial life, and your life with family and friends. Oftentimes, your family may be challenging it. That's to put it really nicely. But your friends, they're behind you. And if you got a good set of friends which you can create for yourself, especially while you're young, that's your crew. That's who you will rock and roll with. That's how you will climb the ladder of success. They'll be with you even more than family members at times, probably most of the time. There is a science to success. Napoleon Hill taught it, many before him, and he taught it in the 20s. And he had to watch out for gangsters, and he talked about that, and even in his books. Tony Robbins took it to the butter, no bread. Took it to the butter, no bread. Took it to the ghee, so the very gods know him. He's feeding 1 billion people around the world for free. He's not charging them a dime, right? Why is he feeding people for free? He had an experience when he was young. I'm saying this to y'all, especially us brothers, and especially us young brothers. You can do anything. Thought, or rather, destiny follows thought. And if you add words to those thoughts, it becomes even more powerful. And I'm going to break it down to you on a scientific level in a minute. If you add decrees to those thoughts, it becomes even more powerful. If you write it down, it becomes even more powerful in the form of a goal. It's even more powerful, right? What do you want to do? The sky's the limit, and it really is. If you don't believe me, look at that guy coming on a plane from India that got $100 in his pocket and don't even got a place to sleep. And watch what he do. I know a guy like this. He told me he had to sleep on the subway. He's also was living, one of my neighbors. In fact, his son was one of my students in that same building I told you about my friends are living in now, rated 10th on the planet Earth. He had to sleep on the subways. He had to watch out for the cops. He had to keep it moving. He had to find his way in a foreign land. And he wasn't speaking English all that well, but he had to find his way. Now he got his own factory. He traveling India and the world, this place, that place, like he wants. Got a fabulous condominium in this place. This was somebody that came off the plane with nothing. So I'm saying to you, what do you want? What are you going for? And it don't matter what you go for. There's a way to get it and you can't get it. I had a dude say to me, so you decided you wanted to go for God consciousness, huh? You wanted to go for Christ consciousness? See, so now this is Hank's channel, so most of y'all would know something about this. And I said, yeah. And he said, good luck with that. I said, thanks. Now, in them days, we live on the left side of the train, or the left hand of God, right? We hustling. And we hustling hard. We're making crackerjack money, really ridiculous money. What we made in a day, many people, when I say many people, like maybe a good 3, 4, 5 dozens didn't make in a year what one of us made in a day, right? But I wanted to be with Ascended Masters. And what really blew my mind when I would go and meet other guys that I did business with, the most diabolical gangsters had a secret desire to be a monk. I'm talking about Italian guys too, real killers. They had a secret desire to be a monk. I wanted to be a spiritual master. And time came where, and I thought I could, and time came where either you go to jail or you get out of town. So I decided I'm gonna go to India. I got out of town. And I was with a spiritual master. It was the greatest decision I ever made in my life. And it's like this, y'all. You can make decisions on a 1, 2, 3 level, or you can make decisions. I'm talking about from 1 to 100, right? You can, or even 10, 20, 30 level, which the average person does do. You know, the guy that does a little bit better may be making decisions on the 30, 40, 50 level, but he never really gets beyond that. You can make decisions on an 85, 95, 100 level, 100-degree level. Many years after my spiritual master passed away, I had gone up to the ashram to visit, and we were in the dorm, and there was this about a half a dozen guys in there, and we were just all of us were just talking, and I was telling the guy, I said, they asked me how to meet Bob. I met Bob in the '70s. Most of them, they were young, but there was another guy in there, an Indian guy, as a matter of fact, and I was telling them all the story, and they were all listening because they just wanted to hear the stories about people living their spiritual lives and what we did. I said, I had a business and I was making about $1.5 million a year. And then it mushroomed to 9.5 millions almost overnight, right? And I had met the guru. So the choice was on the table for me to keep developing that business that had mushroomed into $9.5 million a year, or go live with my guru in the jungles of India. And I decided, I want to be ascended master. I want to be a godlike being. That's what I want, right? So when his brother said to me, good luck with that, it was my good luck opportunity. And I said, you know what? I'll always make money. And I'm going to go with the guru. So I told my story to them. And I said to them, I said, that was the most powerful decision I ever made in my life. That was 100, level decision. And this Indian guy was listening closer than all the rest of the guys in the room. It was a motley ethnicity in the room. People, black, white, Chinese, they'll listen, right? And he said, you know what? I had the opportunity. He said, I was in an opportunity just like you were, back in 1976. And I had the chance to go with Baba to India on that jumbo jet. And I had a business just like you had, man. Same thing. My business was about to mushroom, and it was just flourishing. And I was at the point where I was either going to stay and take care of my business or go back to India with Baba. I chose to stay and take care of my business. And that was the worst decision I made in my life. Now, he definitely became a millionaire, right? But he said that was the worst decision he ever had made in his life, right? And there he's up in the ashram. I mean, the adventure I had in India, I got a book. I got a book that's, many volumes already about those stories, about to be published now, right? Part of it is divine conception. And you could just see the pain in his eyes, the regret in his eyes. So at the time, I was making the most money in my life. At that time, I was 22, right? I chose God over money. And it was the best decision I ever made in life. Why did I make that decision? Because I was always thinking about it. I was always thinking about how could I do this? As a matter of fact, I just thought I needed millions of dollars to do it, but I didn't need nothing close to that. I needed an airplane ticket, maybe a couple of $1,000. That's all I needed to go live that life. But I had way more than that. And I did. I went and I lived that life. It can't compare to anything I've ever done since. But see, this is the thing about success. Success for me is not success for you or this guy, that guy. What I'm saying to y'all right now is you can have anything you want. And to be playing it scared, playing it little, the world doesn't benefit from that. Your family doesn't benefit from that. Playing it poor, nobody benefits from that. You are a man and a woman. You may act like a human being, but a human being is a monster. Human being is much different from a man and a woman. We look the same, but see, a human being will do anything. Human beings will indulge in orgies of murder that they call war, right? Or any other kind of orgy for that matter. But a man stands on the square and guides his life with a compass in a direct line to where they're trying to go. And a man and a woman. This is what builds societies, right? When Jesus was here, he didn't say, I'm a what? He said, I am the Son of Man. I am the Son of Man. If you look up in our esoteric dictionaries, they tell you a human being is a monster. And that's for real. We've seen what we do. Our selfishness will have us do anything. Look in what do you call it, politics right now. The FBI and the CIA says the statistics is this: 86% of the people in there are Satanists. Look in the movie industry. It's about the same. And it's as if you're not going to be big if you don't sell your soul to the devil. And you got the actors and actresses coming out now telling us this. They're telling us this. And then we're seeing all the satanic stuff there. Like, we don't care what you see. We don't care what y'all hear or see. I'm talking to y'all about the School of Higher Consciousness and what you can learn in that school, and the office that's going to be made to you to even be in that school. What I plan to over deliver in regard to you coming into this school. It's going to be online in maybe a week or two, probably 2 weeks. I want you to think about what you want in life. I want you to think about who you are and where you can go. All right. So, you grew up and you was broke and poor and you lived in the ghetto and things was bad. You even went to jail. So what? I found out my guru, who was a God man, went to jail for 27 months. What did he go to jail for? I'm talking about my guru. He said, I went to jail for crimes against the British government. When Gandhi had turned the country around and, the British wanted to make us their slaves. It was like, I was rocking and rolling. This my guru was telling us. He didn't tell everybody that, but I was around when he told it. I got to hear it. I went to jail for 27 months for crimes against the British government. What about some of the people that was in the movement when I was a kid? In the black movement, and the Panthers, Uncle Jamal and other, who's now a professor in Columbia University, a head of the department. What about the last poets? Them guys called themselves the last poets because they was going to drop it so hard. They was taking poetry to the butter, no bread. They called themselves the last poets because they believed that they were going to kill them because they was dropping it so hard. And what they say, I thought, did they come to the future and see what's happening here? One of their songs on their album, "This Is Madness," it was automatic push button remote control. Right, that's one of their poems. And they go, and when it came time for the end, the men will be like the women, and the women like the men, and all will dance in the hypnotic trance. Is that what they have us doing now? They weaponize the air, the water, and the food against us. And we going around like, like automaton. Like, hey, so what they doing? What we going to do? Something. We can't even say things like Brother Hank came on. He had to say this stuff, or else they could take this thing away from him. You say common words, they'll take that away from you. What happened to freedom of speech? What, that you can't? Freedom of speech is gone now. Media channels can tell you that you can't say common words. I'm gonna say this to you. Take it to the butter. No bread. In fact, take it to the ghee and worship the gods, and the gods will know you. They will know you, and they will know you by name. I'm telling you, this is what I'm saying is real, because there's so few people in this world that worship gods, that make something out of themselves, that benefit themselves, their families, their communities. You are noticed, but most are noticed because of what negativity they do. Look at this woman that's running for Congress. She thinks so little of us that when she has somebody like Megan Thee Stallion, she'll bring somebody like that in to try to drag people in to hear her say what? We're going to get Trump. Not that we're going to, I'm going to do something for y'all. Well, she's saying, I'm not going to do nothing for y'all. Black people alone? No, I'm not going to do that. But billions of dollars will go to these people that, Ukraine. Billions of dollars will go to the Japanese. Billions of dollars will go to Asians. Billions of dollars will go to Israel. But for Black Americans, oh, no. I'm not going to do nothing for y'all. And yet, everybody is buying into this media propaganda on Trump. Now, I had a few years. I got a few years under my belt. And I've never seen the media go after any presidential candidate like they went after Trump. I never even saw them go after gangsters like they're going after Trump. Right? Not even gangsters. Nicky Bonds, they didn't go after that hard. Lucky Luciano, they didn't go after that hard. But yet they're going after Trump like this. And then when I found out what Trump was doing, I was like, that's why they're going after him. That's why they're going after him. Because he's not playing. He's a New Yorker. He don't play. He's taking it to the butter. Let's get back to us. What are we going to do? How are the gods going to know us? What are we going to do? I wanted to get something here, and I made it a vow with God. And I just started saying my decrees. But I ain't saying them 12 times a day like Napoleon Hill said. I said them like 200 times a day, my decree, for what I wanted. And I got it, and I got it on the day. But I made this decree. I made this agreement with God, and I did not keep my side of that agreement. So that the magic would happen, I got what I wanted. And in that same day, it was taken away. And I was like grace. God is saying to me, you can't keep playing these games. It's not the first time you did this. I'm telling y'all, there's a science, and it cannot be denied. You can get what you want. Just through the power of the spoken word alone, you can get what you want. Even if you're not putting out much actions, like magic. There's magical chance, like the Guru Gita, that will give you anything you want. Wealth on a yellow cross facing west. A yellow wool cloth facing east will attract all women or men to you. North on the wool cloth facing north will attract everything to you. South on the black cloth will allow you to exercise evil spirits, exorcise evil spirits. There's a science, and it's a big science. I'm telling you, the School of Higher Consciousness is offering this to you. It's going to be online. It's going to be there for you. But this is what I'm looking to do. And this is what I've been thinking about for a long time now. And those who want what I want, stay in contact with me. I'll be delivering it to you full off. I saw full magnitude. I saw many years ago this movie called Lost Horizon. If you guys can get a chance to see it, check it out. It was about Shangri-La, a heaven on earth. Now, I want to say this because I lived in a place like that when I was with my guru's ashram in India. This place was so magnificent. I used to say to myself almost daily, gods came there, other sitters came there, god men and women, right? I would say, if life here is this good, how much better could heaven possibly be? I'm also tell you this planet is the only school in this solar system for God consciousness. It is Earth that you got to come to in order to become a God conscious being. It's only here in this solar system, right? But there's a flip side to that. From what the ascended masters are telling, the sitter and ascended masters are telling us, in this entire universe, not the solar system, not the galaxy that has 500 trillion other galaxies, but this one little planet is the worst planet in the entire universe. And so this is where we have to come to attain God consciousness. There's a caveat to that too. If you do it here, you'll be such a powerful siddha being or ascended master being that you could go to any planet and turn that whole planet, no matter how wicked it is, because it's not as wicked as this place, like Jesus did, into a godly place. We're moving into the golden age. Wickedness is going to happen before we get there, but we're moving into the golden age right now. How are you going to play the game? How are you going to be? Do you want to be a godlike man or woman? You want to go for that? Remember what Jesus said in the Bible. Now, I want to tell you, I'm not a Christian, right? I'm not a Muslim, I'm not a Hindu, and I'm not a Jew. I studied all their scriptures and others, the Papa Vul, just others, okay? Even the Yazidis, which the Bible and the Quran was modeled after. I almost don't want to say. I'm not going to say what the Yazidis is. Well, they may take down Tank's channel if I tell you, but I will tell you. The Bible and the Quran is modeled after Yazidis. And I don't want to even tell you whose Bible that is. All right? All right, now bust it. How you going to play this game? How you going to play? You're gonna let them have you wanting to be a woman or thinking that's okay, or want you to be a man and thinking that's okay? You're going to let them have you hating men as far as the women go? Or the men thinking men ain't no good. They rape women. They do this and that. I'm gonna tell you something. There's many women who abuse men, and that's why they do many of the things. Their mothers. I'm talking about their mothers. All right, that abuse them or close opinions too. We don't got it a bed of roses here. Nobody does. This is not a heaven place. And as far as happiness goes, as I was reading in the scriptures, happiness is not vouchsafed to human beings. The gods live in happiness. Animals live in fear because they got to be worried about eaten by other animals. Human beings, we live in lamentation. We're always crying. But if we decide, we're like in the middle. If we decide we want to live like a gods, we'll have a large part of happiness. If we decide that we're not going to live like animals on any level, that means we won't be murdering their carcasses, seasoning their blood to make it into gravy, and then eating their flesh for nourishment. Okay? That's one of the things we push aside, and that's one of the few things. If we want to be like gods, act like them. If we want to accomplish certain things, go for it. It don't matter. Barack Obama didn't say, I'm black and I got a Muslim name and I don't think I'm going to make it. So I'm taking this to the butter. I'm going to do this. There's a whole lot more to it than that, believe me. But he did it. If he can do that, you can build your own multi-million or billion-dollar corporation or LLC. You can have a wonderful family. You can meet a wonderful woman to help you build that family. I'm going to be talking about this in the School of Higher Conscience for you guys, because it's the men that start the families. And you begin with building yourself and looking for that jewel of a woman. Who's not looking for what you got, but what you are as far as a man. And she's going to help you be a better man. You need to find that woman. It's going to be very difficult for you to find her here in America. So you're going to have to get like the what they call them, the passport bros. You're going to have to go to other countries to find women who would love to have a guy like you. And you can build over there as well as you can build here. There's so many ways for you to make money. There's so many ways for you to go for yours. You know, they're giving away property, and when I say giving away, I mean giving away in New Jersey right now. They were doing it in Philadelphia. They had. I went to one of these rooms, just apartments. 3-bedroom apartments. All was in that apartment was on the wall, just lists of houses that nobody owned, that were being dilapidated, and they were given away. The only consideration they said that you had to adhere to was it's got to be your main residence. You can't sell it before 20 years, and you got to live there. But that don't mean you couldn't live other places, right? In Italy right now, they're selling houses for €2. These are like chateaus, most of them, and they build much better than they don't build them out of sticks like they do here. They build them out of bricks and mortar over there. All you gotta do is go over there and fix it up, and then bust this. The government is giving you $32,000 to fix those places up. Well, you can live in Italy for 4 years. I mean, 4 months out of the year. You know, you making money. You could turn that place into uh, a pensione or what they call them nowadays, Airbnbs. And there's people out there doing it. €4, y'all. €4. There are many opportunities. You don't have to get into real estate. You can do whatever you want to do. Do you got an excuse? You got an excuse? Write it down on a piece of paper. Matter of fact, write all your excuses down on a piece of paper. And remember, there are millionaires right now that got no legs. There are millionaires right now that got no hands. There are millionaires right now in America that can't speak English. There are millionaires that's getting off the plane right now, and they know they're going to go for theirs, and they got nothing. And in 5 years, they're going to have what they want because their mind is focused. You can have your God consciousness, you could have your money, you could have your wife and your family, you could have it all, and even knowledge. You can have etiquette, you can have languages. I was looking online where there was this school, right? They taught multiple languages to these guys. It's going to be operatives and all like that. And I said, I always want to do that. Let me check it out. I'm not too old, maybe I could do it, right? I want to learn how to play an instrument. I saw a guy online too. He's like, look, you learn these keys, these keys here, and next thing you know, you'll be able to master. You can go for it. What do you want? Because whatever's holding you back don't mean nothing. You get sickness. Well, they got cures for almost every disease out here. Prayers, Hank and I, we was on the line doing our prayer thing for a while, and people would come back and say their kids are here, they're having this here. Now, it wasn't us. We was just asking God to do it for them. God hears you. God sees you. If you're doing good works, the God see you. And I'm going to say it to you like this. Take it to the butter, no bread. Take it to the ghee so that the gods will know you. That's how you want to play this life. Why? Because this is your opportunity. You don't get a human birth just because you're human now. You don't get this birth. This is not guaranteed to you. It may be another eon before you get this opportunity. And even then, will you be on a planet like this, a school where you can become God conscious? This thing about going to heaven and all like that. There's a planet, this heaven like that. You can stay there for a long, long time, but you won't be God conscious. This is the place where you get that. And I would say, you don't have to give up every minute to do that, but you got to go for the butter. You got to go for the gusto, and the gods will know you. Like I said, I'm creating the School of High Consciousness as we speak. In fact, I took time away from setting up some classes to do this program tonight. If there's any questions, and anybody have any questions, I don't know if you'll do or not. I might be able to answer some of them. I'm not sure. I'd like to answer them if there is. Yeah, that's what I said. I just turned this on. I think we see they have a long time ago. Is he the brother who these people, I think, in India that lived for hundreds of years came out and talked to him? Well, what is the question? The question is, yeah, that's what I said. Just turn this on. I think I see they have a long time ago. I don't get that. Is he the brother who these people, I think in India, that lived for hundreds of years came out and talked to him? Well, I don't know, but I do know I found a formula called Kalya Kalpa. Now, this formula allows you to rejuvenate your 85-year-old body back to 25 years old, right? It's a 40-day process. It's a secret process. You'll learn this in the School of High Consciousness too. Like I said, if anybody signs up with me in this program, I'm no longer going to be a voluntary, a professional volunteer. It's going to cost a little money, but it's a little bit of money, and that's just in the beginning. And I'm going to over deliver to such a degree. You're going to tell me, you got to charge more money for this, and you'll see. You'll see. There's also careers, especially for you young guys. We got careers that we're offering for free. All right, bust it. I feel that we need our brothers here to help us, real goddesses, queens, and empresses. We've been here, so why should they leave? I think some of our men need to be more selective in choosing Afro. I agree with you 100%. 100%. But as they look, What they're looking to find is that woman who's 1 in 100,000. In other words, they're looking for a woman, like looking for a needle in a haystack where the haystack is hidden. Our women are being trained now to hate men. I don't mean black women, but we all understand that. We all are living and experiencing that. They're training all women to hate black women. I'm particularly trying to circle around my son on my Shabbat. And this is my son Bhishma. He's named after a main character in the scripture called the Mahabharata. He was being taught in the womb, right? He was conceived in a holy ritual. Anyway, this is my first son. Nonetheless, look at, now I hear what this sister's saying. Afro is her name. I hear what you're saying, 100%. And I would love that would be our experience. See, when I got married, mine is an arranged marriage. We've been together 35 years. That was an arrangement by my guru. So once it was arranged like that, the thought of breaking up with her, the thought of leaving her and my children was not a thought. How does that play out in our world nowadays, especially for the women? Because the deck is stacked up against the men in favor of the women. So no matter what she does, she could go out and cunnilingus with any other guy that's out there, or fellatio with any other guy that's out there, and then come back and say, I'm unhappy, and take half the house or the whole house, all the kids, and his money. In other words, the government is set up now to extort money from him until those kids become 18 to 21 years old, even if she is an adulterous woman. So I hear what you're saying, my sister. I hear what you're saying 100%. And I want to say this to you. I was renting storefronts back in the day. And this woman got with me. I thought she was a decent woman, you know. And but she was out with some other guy and she got pregnant, which is common here in America. So you don't pick the guy that you know could be the father or is the father. You pick the guy that's doing the best. She picked me. But her child was not my daughter, right? And she made sure she didn't take any DNA tests, right? But like a fool, because she wouldn't let me see my daughter, I took her to court. So the case was mine. Why did I do that? I didn't know better. I thought the courts, there was righteousness. That's what I thought. And it's nothing but an extortion racket where they're making $500 billion a year. The mafia don't even make that money off of their extortion business. And here's the deal. If you find out after 30 days of them sticking you with somebody else's child, it means nothing. You can't come in with that. You just can't come in. So I'm saying to you brothers, if you don't watch out who you pick, if you don't have listed a picture of what kind of woman you want, and then a list of the traits that you want her to have, you're going to get caught in the trick bag that they set up for you. Now, here's something else to that statement that the sister made. And I wish we could do just exactly what you're saying, my sister. I called the labs to do a DNA test. And I said to this woman who was the lab technician in this DNA laboratory, I said, you know, it's dirty what the government is doing, because they know that 30% of these kids, of these paternities, come back negative. And she says to me, where'd you get that statistic from? I said, I was listening to Michael Bazin on the news, you know, on the radio, and he had an expert come in there. Was a radio host. And, you know, this expert said that was the statistic. She said to me, no, that's not the statistics. Then she goes on to say, our lab is indicative to all the labs around the country. In other words, we pretty much have the same statistics. Generally, you know, we have the same statistics. And she goes, for white women, 85% of these paternity tests come back negative. For black women, 90% of these paternity tests come back negative. So when my son had a girlfriend and she told him she's pregnant, I said, the only good thing about this is you got a 90% chance that child is not yours. Think about that, my sister. Think about this. And this is for every man here in America. I don't care if he's black, white, whatever he is, Chinese. It just don't matter. The women are being trained here. If you can't see that they're trying to take down America, then you're blind. They're being trained to hate, literally to hate men in the guise of feminism. Now, I call that satanic feminism. In the guise of women live, I call that satanic women liberation. It's designed to destroy us. It's not designed to help us. As far as us being able to get a good black woman, that is not going to be easy task. I was lucky one was picked for me. I'm in an arranged marriage, and we've been together for 35 years. I'm a dinosaur as far as marriage is concerned in America. Are there any more questions or even comments? Because I truly love to hear. No? Well, I could go on for a while, but I pretty much said what I want to say in regards to us moving forward. I know how I'm going to move forward. I'm going to take it to the butter, no bread. I'm going to take it to the ghee, and I've been on it. And I got an agenda so that the very gods may know me. They're going to know me through what I do, what I did, and who I became. Hank, my brother, you there? FW, can you call Hank for me? JD? If there's any more questions, I truly love to see them, hear them. But I want y'all to look out for the School of Higher Consciousness and what can be done there. And the book, all right, the book is called Divine Conception. And it's a series of books, actually. And the first book is called, what's my first book called? Divine Conception. Is that what I named it? I changed the title so many times. No, I Am the Candidate. That's the first book. And the second book is Return of the Sitters. And I'm gonna give you a little idea of what the book is about. What the book is about is the genocide of the black man on the planet Earth. And how do we flip that script? And the way that script is flipped, because I'm telling you, that they've already written it. They've even in the New York Times, they've written it. We're taking our black people. We're taking y'all out, right? The way that script is flipped is by us flipping the script. Like I said in the beginning, through divine conception. What if we start creating what Anna and Imran created? Anna was Jesus's grandmother, and Imran was his grandfather. And they initiated the process of divine conception. What if we did that? What if we started, developing ourselves? So it's a 3-generational process. So it's not like, I do it and I'm going to get this. It's a 3-generational process. You prepare yourself, you conceive this child in a holy ritual after so much, after studying and learning so much of the process and purifying yourself to be that person, to be that saintly creature, you and your wife. Then you conceive that child in a holy ritual of love with mantras and decrees and an actual ritual where you're calling on the gods to come into this process to imbue that child with divine qualities that you yourself incorporated within yourself, right? Then all the while, once that child is conceived, and then that child is conceived with holy mantras, right? And then As soon as that child is conceived, you teach that child every day in the womb, right? Then when it comes out of the womb, when it's born, it should be born in also a ritual of love, right? And offered to God. When you teach that child, you teach that child from the very day that it's born. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am definitely stepping into take it to the butter, no bread, honoring this chance. Is this C. Carter? Oh, how can I contact you, bro? I'm gonna leave the Ronald 1922. I'm gonna leave you the link down below. Now, I'm telling y'all, if you're going to come into the School of Higher Consciousness, I'm telling you, it's going to be over delivering. It's going to be over delivering. Some of y'all don't even know what y'all want to do. And I got a free thing where and you could become pilots and be making $375,000 a year. You could become mechanics that fix airplanes and make $100,000 a year. All of this is available. None of this was available when I was a kid. Let me see. I think it's the same for sisters like myself that find it challenge to find an Afro man in America who doesn't have the mentality, the mentally slave mentality like many sisters. I'm in my 50s. Well, see now, check this out. If you have children, right, you can be learning about what you can teach your daughters or your sons if you have children about what I'm talking about right now, because nobody's going to uplift us. The government ain't going to do that. They got an agenda, and you'll see what that agenda is, and they are on it. Believe me, they are on it. So the reality is, if we want to change this situation, which we can change, it's on us, and we can change it. And believe me, there are questions that you may ask me, and none of those questions came up yet. If you ask me online right now, I tell them you have to call me, because I would not want to expose this. Just like we got people like Dr. Sebi. But now, our scientists know they got to keep themselves hidden, or else they will have the same future that Dr. Sebi had. Not knowing, you can't go out and say, I got formulas that will kill cancer and this, that, and the other. We have to be even smarter than the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We cannot come out and say what we want to say in an open forum. We can't do that. We got to keep it secret to keep it safe. We got to start building within, among each other. And that don't mean that we don't invite Chinese, Japanese, whites, and some of the deluded blacks, because I hear you, sister. I hear exactly what you're saying. And that's the whole purpose of me wanting to build the School of Higher Consciousness. I get you. Almighty I am. Almighty I am. Almighty I am. Yeah, and that's where it begins, y'all. That's where it begins. Because you are the mighty I am presence. That's what you are.
All right, bro.
My brother.
Family, just want to thank you for that presentation. Job well done.
Thank you.
Like, subscribe, share. Mr. McDonald, Ronald, 1922. The subject of hollow earth is what you want to research. Research hollow earth. We're
What
not
was
going
the
to go
question?
into it tonight
Okay.
because we're out of time. Brother Lalji's been on for an hour and a half. We'll see him next week, Wednesday, 8 p.m.
Cool.
Lalji,
That'd be
excellent
good.
presentation.
Thank you.
Family, appreciate you. Let me see if I bring it out in the closing theme. Let's see. Oh, yeah. One more thing. Check this out, family. Check it
Family,
out.
so high powered, I can't tell y'all. I'm not even gonna tell you what it could do. This
Go ahead,
thing
Lodgy. Tell them
so
what
high
your
powered.
experience has
I don't
been
know
so
what
far.
it is. I'm sorry, Hank. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I had it this morning. Man, I got up. I did my practices, right? 3 hours of spiritual practices. Then I did my exercise. I did like 400 crunches. I did my weights, and I did Shanti. Then I went 5,000 steps around block. I don't know how many miles that is. Man, I didn't have anything but a little bit of water. This thing that he just showed you on that thing is so high powered, we can't even tell you all that it does. We're gonna have to have that in a private conversation. But this is what I mean when I said we got things that is as powerful what Dr. Sebi, had his life taken for, and more, y'all.
Listen, y'all better copy this down. Look at this. Go to ypowersupplement.com. ypowersupplement.com.
Hank, I took that this morning. I was zooming with energy. Remember how I was just pacing back and forth when I saw it?
You was like a tiger in a cage, bruh.
The Sean T, the insanity video, that ain't no joke. That ain't no joke at all. I was using that for a warm-up, man. I was like, and then I went outside. Man, I don't know how many miles I did, but I came back in. I still only had one meal today. And oh, man, y'all, I'm telling y'all, go to that website and check it out.
That's it.
Keep it secret.
All right. Great presentation. See y'all next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Until then, have a magical, marvelous, God-blessed weekend.
Say often, yes, I am. Supreme shield of protection surrounding me. Yes, I am. Yes, I am remembering all I was born to do. Yes, I am. Take hold of your crystal, which will magnify your I am affirmations at least 600%. If you don't have a pistol, you better have a crystal.